In 1915, in a small, quiet village in northern Korea, a boy named Chung Ju-young was born. His family was desperately poor, living off the land as rice farmers. From dawn till dusk, young Chung and his siblings worked in the fields, plowing, planting, and harvesting under the hot sun. Life was hard. There was never enough food, never enough money, and never enough hope for change. Chung's father was a strict man who believed that farming was the only path in life. "The land feeds us," he would say. "It may be hard, but it is our fate." For generations, their family had tilled the same soil, and his father believed his eldest son would continue the tradition. But little Chung thought differently. As a boy, he often watched travelers passing through their village, men with shoes on their feet and money in their pockets, heading toward the city. To him, the city seemed like another world, a place filled with opportunities, machines, and progress. Deep inside, he carried a dream. He did not want to remain trapped in the endless cycle of poverty. When he was just a teenager, Chung decided to run away. With nothing but determination in his heart, he set out on foot to find work in the city. He hoped to earn money, learn new skills, and escape the life of hardship that had chained his family for generations. But his father soon found him and brought him back. Still, Chung refused to give up. He ran away again, and again. Each time, he was dragged back to the farm, but his dream only grew stronger. His father scolded him, calling him stubborn and foolish. Yet the boy's heart was unshaken. He wanted more than just survival. He wanted to create something big, something modern, something that would change his life forever. Eventually, Chung convinced his father to let him leave. He promised to work hard and send money home. With only a few coins in his pocket, he left his village for good. In the bustling streets of the city, he felt both fear and excitement. He was uneducated, poor, and had no connections, but he had courage. He worked as a laborer, carrying heavy loads, then as a delivery boy, running through the streets for hours each day. Every small job taught him discipline, every failure taught him resilience. Though he faced hunger and exhaustion, Chung's dream never faded. He knew that poverty was not the end of his story, it was only the beginning. The poor farmer's son was determined to write his own destiny, one step at a time. And so, from the muddy rice fields of Korea, began the journey of a boy who would one day create an empire called Hyundai, a name that means modernity. When Chung Ju-young arrived in the city, life was nothing like he had imagined. The streets were crowded, jobs were scarce, and survival was tough. He had no education, no money, and no experience, only determination. But where others saw barriers, Chung saw opportunities. His first job was as a laborer, carrying heavy stones and timber at construction sites. The pay was tiny, and the work broke his body. Yet, instead of complaining, he observed. He watched how buildings were designed, how machines worked, and how projects came together. He realized that Korea desperately needed modern industries, not just farming. Later, he found a job as a delivery boy for a rice store. Day after day, he ran through the streets with sacks of rice on his back, sweating under the hot sun. His employer noticed his honesty and hard work. Soon, Chung was trusted with managing accounts and handling money. For the first time, he learned about trade, profit, and business. With his savings and courage, Chung opened a small rice shop of his own. It was his very first business. For a while, things looked promising. He served customers with a smile, worked long hours, and began to dream of building something bigger. But fate was not kind. Prices of rice fluctuated, debts piled up, and his shop eventually collapsed. Many people would have quit right there. But Chung saw the failure as a lesson. He often said later in life, "Failure is not the end, it is a stepping stone to success." He refused to let his dream die. In the 1940s, Chung took another bold step. He borrowed money and opened a small car repair shop. This was a risky move. Cars were rare in Korea back then, and most people thought it was foolish. But Chung saw the future. He believed machines would transform his country, and cars would one day fill its streets. His little workshop was nothing fancy, just a few tools, oil-stained rags, and his unshakable spirit. He learned how engines worked, how parts fit together, and how to solve problems quickly. Customers began to trust him because he never cheated, never gave up on a broken car, and always delivered what he promised. That repair shop carried a name, Hyundai Auto Service. To others, it was just a garage. To Chung, it was the foundation of a dream. Every car he fixed was not just a repair, it was a glimpse into Korea's future. But life still tested him. He faced shortages of tools, parts, and money. Sometimes he worked all night, only to earn a few coins. Yet, he believed that small beginnings could lead to big victories. With every struggle, he grew wiser, stronger, and more determined. The poor boy from a farming village was no longer just a laborer, he was now a businessman with vision. And soon, this vision would grow into something much larger than a repair shop. It would grow into Hyundai, a name that would one day echo across the world. By the late 1940s, Korea was struggling. The country had just gained independence after decades of Japanese occupation, but poverty, destruction, and instability surrounded its people. It was during this time that Chung Ju-young took the most daring step of his life. In 1947, with almost nothing in his pockets except courage, he founded a company called Hyundai Engineering and Construction. The word, Hyundai, meant modernity. It was a bold name for a young company in a country that still lacked proper roads, bridges, and industries. Chung's vision was clear. If Korea wanted a brighter future, it had to be rebuilt from the ground up. He wanted Hyundai to be the company that built that future. At first, nobody believed in him. Competitors mocked him, saying a farmer's son could never lead a construction company. Even government officials doubted that Hyundai could handle serious projects. But Chung had one weapon that set him apart, his determination. His company began with small jobs, repairing buildings, paving simple roads, and handling small construction tasks. Each project was completed on time and with honesty. Slowly, Hyundai earned a reputation. Chung believed in discipline, hard work, and keeping promises. "Once I say yes, I will do it, no matter how hard it is," he often told his workers. Then came a breakthrough. The Korean government needed roads, ports, and factories to modernize the country. Hyundai won contracts that others thought impossible. One of their biggest early achievements was building roads through rugged mountains where no one else dared to try. When people doubted, Chung simply asked, "Have you tried?" This question became his life philosophy. He believed nothing was impossible until you made the effort. During the Korean War in the 1950s, Hyundai played a vital role in rebuilding the nation. After the war, South Korea was in ruins, but Chung saw it as an opportunity. While others saw destruction, he saw a blank canvas. His company built bridges over rivers, ports for ships, and factories for industries. Step by step, Hyundai became the backbone of South Korea's reconstruction. Chung wasn't just building structures, he was building confidence in a nation. His workers admired him because he worked alongside them, ate the same meals, and shared the same struggles. He wasn't just a boss, he was a leader with vision. By the 1960s, Hyundai had grown into one of Korea's most important companies. It was no longer just a small construction firm, it was a giant shaping the future of the country. From a poor boy who once carried rice on his back, Chung Ju-young had now become a man leading hundreds of workers, giving them jobs, and giving his nation hope. But for Chung, construction was not the end. His dream was bigger. He wanted to build not just roads and bridges, but machines that could carry Korea into the modern world. And soon, he would take his greatest leap yet, the creation of a Korean car. By the mid-1960s, South Korea was beginning to rise from the ashes of war. Roads, bridges, and factories built by Hyundai had already changed the country's landscape. But in Chung Ju-young's mind, something even greater was waiting to be born. He often asked himself, if other countries can build cars, why can't we? At the time, the idea seemed impossible. Korea had almost no technology, no experience, and no automobile industry. Most people thought it was madness. Even government officials doubted him. Cars are for advanced nations like America, Japan, or Germany, they said. But Chung Ju-young was not a man who accepted limits. In 1967, he founded the Hyundai Motor Company. To the world, it was just a new company with no experience. To Chung, it was the future of Korea. He knew it would be a long and painful journey, but he was ready. The first step was to learn. Chung brought in engineers and designers from abroad, especially from Britain. He sent young Koreans to train, to study technology, and to understand how cars were made. Inside his factories, workers stayed late into the night, learning how to shape metal, assemble engines, and test machines. Every screw, every bolt, and every mistake was a lesson. In 1975, after years of struggle, Hyundai finally unveiled Korea's first mass-produced car, the Hyundai Pony. It was a small, affordable car designed for ordinary people. To many Koreans, seeing the Pony was like witnessing a miracle. For the first time in history, a car was built in Korea, by Koreans, for Koreans. But Chung didn't stop there. He wanted the world to see what Korea could do. Hyundai began exporting the Pony overseas, starting with Canada. Skeptics laughed, saying no one would buy a car from a poor country. Yet, within a few years, the Pony became a success abroad. It was not luxurious, but it was reliable, affordable, and carried with it the pride of an entire nation. The achievement shook the world. Korea, once considered too poor and backward to even dream of making cars, was now producing vehicles that people in other countries wanted to drive. And at the center of it all was Chung Ju-young, the farmer's son who never stopped dreaming. Of course, challenges remained. Early models faced criticism for quality, and Hyundai struggled to gain full respect in the global market. But Chung never lost faith. "We will improve," he told his team. "Step by step, we will build cars that stand equal to the best in the world." The Pony was more than just a car. It was a symbol of courage. It proved that dreams could become reality if you dared to try. And for the people of South Korea, it was proof that their country could rise, modernize, and compete with the giants of the world. The journey from a rice field to the showroom floor had been long and painful. But Hyundai had arrived, and soon, it would not only survive, it would dominate. The launch of the Hyundai Pony in 1975 was only the beginning. For Chung Ju-young, the boy who once dreamed of escaping the rice fields, success was never about stopping at one milestone. He believed that if Korea could build one car, it could build many more, and not just for itself, but for the entire world. The early years were not easy. The Pony and the first few models faced criticism abroad. Some said the cars were cheap, others complained about quality. Competitors mocked Hyundai, calling it a poor man's car company. But Chung didn't let insults break his spirit. Instead, he pushed harder. His philosophy was simple: we must learn, we must improve, and we must not fear failure. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Hyundai invested heavily in research and technology. The company hired engineers from around the world and trained thousands of Koreans to become experts in automobile design and manufacturing. Every year, their cars improved. What was once considered low quality slowly transformed into reliability and value. By the late 1990s, Hyundai was no longer just a Korean company, it was a global player. Its cars were sold in Asia, North America, Europe, and the Middle East. The company expanded further, creating luxury models, family cars, and eventually environmentally friendly vehicles. What began as one small workshop had grown into one of the largest automobile manufacturers in the world. But Hyundai wasn't just about cars. Under Chung's leadership, the Hyundai Group expanded into shipbuilding, steel, electronics, finance, and more. Hyundai became a symbol of South Korea's transformation, from one of the poorest countries on earth to a nation admired for its innovation and strength. Chung Ju-young himself remained a humble man. Despite his incredible wealth and power, he often reminded people of his beginnings in the rice fields. He never forgot the hunger of his childhood or the struggles of his early life. When asked about his success, he often repeated the same question that guided him throughout his life. "Have you tried?" This simple phrase carried his belief that nothing is impossible until you make the effort. It was the mindset that had carried him from a farmer's son to the founder of a global empire. Today, Hyundai and Kia together stand among the world's top carmakers, competing with giants like Toyota, Volkswagen, and General Motors. Their cars are praised for quality, design, and innovation. From electric vehicles to futuristic concepts, Hyundai continues to shape the future of mobility. And behind this global success story is the legacy of one man who refused to give up, who saw possibilities where others saw limits, and who believed that even the poorest boy could change the world with courage and determination. The story of Chung Ju-young and Hyundai is not just about cars. It is about resilience, vision, and the power of dreams. From the muddy rice fields of a Korean village to the highways of every continent, his journey proves one timeless truth: poverty is not destiny, persistence is.